Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast network. Here today, sitting on the stoop. We're going to get the scoop. We're talking about something most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. And you ask, what is that? Have you ever thought about being wrong? Failing? How about messing up? How about being terrible? But what if the terrible you know is not the terrible we're talking about? It isn't the problem. What if it's the process? I guess today, y'all see him? Y'all see him over there? For the ones that are listening in, don't worry, my man KP, he gonna come on, he gonna share his story. He's the author of the book that we're talking about, Be Terrible. And you're like, be terrible? Yeah, we're gonna be talking about thankful, efficient, resilient, readiness, inclusive, bond, loyal, and everyone. And that's why my man KP, he flips the script on perfection, success, and identity. This isn't a polished story, everybody. Like some of y'all already heard my story. This isn't a polished story. This is a real one with a real dude with real lessons. It's filled with growth. It's filled with hard truths and the courage to show up every single day. Because sometimes the best version of you is built through the moments you wish never happened. Now let's dive in. My man KP, what's up,
Let's
bro?
get it.
Let's get it. Hey, we hype. We don't have what they say, yo, we was in the green room for about an hour just chopping it up, just trying to get to know each
Yeah.
other. So, man, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the VET S.O.S network. And one of the things we like to say here is you don't have to drown in the sea of transition. You grab that VET S.O.S Lifeline. And I tell people every day is a transition. Every day.
Yeah.
Day to day, you transition from Thursday to Friday. You transition from Saturday to Sunday. You could be transitioned from one job to the next. Every day is a transition. You don't have to drown in it. We're here to help. We cut through the noise. We got the information for you. We got you. But before we start, I like my man KP. Like he's sitting on the stoop right now. We're gonna get the scoop. So, I want to hit up KP and like, yo, hey, bro, what's the scoop on you? The audience would like to know.
Hey, the scoop about me, I'm a Southern boy, country boy through and through. I grew up small country town, Bethune, South Carolina, raised on Southern roots, raised by grandparents that were senior citizens. Let's be honest. Like the generation nowadays is a little bit different,
Right.
but my grandparents were senior citizens. And I can appreciate those morals and values and lessons that I was raised at such an early age. And now, I've transitioned throughout that process. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but in a nutshell, I'm happily married to my beautiful queen, Brittany, and I have three beautiful daughters, Big Mari, as I call it, Kalia and Carissa. Those are my girls. I'm a girl dad, and everything that I do is to make their lives a little bit easier. And as you mentioned, Kings, is like, hey, my goal as a man is to be 1% better the next day than I was at previous from that transition aspect. Hey, I might get it right, I might get it wrong, but I guarantee you I'm going to take the lesson and move forward with the next day.
I like that. I know one of the things that you gracefully hovered past was that I know that you got some veteran a veteran
Yeah,
that
you know,
veteran thing. Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually transitioning, into being a 20-year vet, 20 years, 12 days to be exact, in, 1 October of this year. So I'm actually preparing for my retirement ceremony in about 3 weeks now. And Air Force vet, Master Sergeant type, and, personnelist by trade. So I've done the HR aspect from cradle to grave from September '06 to essentially September 26th, and that's my bread and butter. So anything personnel related, I'm a 3SO, 3FO by trade.
Man, that's lovely. So I'm already gonna get to it, man, because I done went through this book. I done shared my story with you to let you know how each of these letters I told you, like, letters are letters. You got
Yeah,
26 in the alphabet, but when you put them in certain order, you get certain words.
yeah,
And the word that we're gonna be talking about is from your book, Be Terrible.
yeah,
Be terrible. But before we start that, man, I always like to ask the authors, what made you come up with this right here, the book, like the cover, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So
who's this person? Why the letters? Who's this young man right here with the who's this who's this right? Who are these people? Like
yeah,
what?
so
Yeah.
just a little bit about everything that you see there. Like growing up in the military, everything is a word. An acronym is a word. We're gonna talk about a word. So the vision behind it is let me take something bad to catch the eye. Why somebody telling me to be something bad? So now I'm gonna, take it and make it mean something good. So be terrible is me putting onus on trying to be something better than what society may deem necessary. So the purpose and what translated from the book aspect, me and my cousin Jordan, we kind of started, you know, the banter going back and forth some years ago with our grandmother. My grandmother, as you see in the book, the bold quotes, we started a little Apple note, with just some of her banter going back and forth. And throughout the years, we added. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and, I talked to my wife and said, hey, babe, this is something I'm thinking about doing. She was like, go for it. Simple, essentially a one sentence type of ordeal. Go for it. I got you. And we go from there. I'm like, bet. So I just sit down, I hunkered on, and I'm like, the biggest thing that from a Black man standpoint is we're taught to be strong. We're taught to be, you can't show emotions. If you cry, you're weak. If you don't talk about your feelings, it's something, it's just you're weak. So I'm like, you know what? Let me be 100% organic, 100% myself. And some might like it, some might not. But if I can help one person, my job is solidified in regards to my purpose on this earth. So whoever reads it, I pray when I hit submit to publish the book, that was my prayer. I pray that this touch and the eyes in which it needs to touch and the people who read it comprehend it to the point where it can impact their life to pay it forward. Because it's my story, but I wrote it in terms where it doesn't matter if you're in the military. I don't care if you're somebody who never had any military affiliation whatsoever. It can still impact you on your day to day, man, woman, or whoever.
And that's why KP, that's why I say as long as you draw a breath, this book is gonna bring you life.
Man,
I
that's
went
real. I received that.
you will see, I appreciate that, man, because the first thing when I open, what I like to do, I like to go to the back and read the back and then go to the front. And then, like, I like to do the bookends first because I like to see, like, man, how is it going to go from part one all the way to the
Mhm.
end? And every page I was going through, I seen me in there. So, talk about that one person, you got one right here.
Man.
You see what I'm saying? So anything past me is a bonus, and you're gonna get a lot of bonuses, right? Like we already talked about. I want this thing to go on a New York Times bestseller
Hey,
because
I pray. I hope
it's
it does,
it's
man.
it's dope, man. Because I really like the way how you start off the book by giving your shout outs by name, and you threw some asterisks on some of the names, like yo, these people right here really got me through my times.
Yeah.
And my first question to you, brother, is what does being terrible really mean in your journey?
Being terrible really means to me in my journey is being unapologetically you and not being ashamed of where you came from. Because it's not where you start, it's where essentially you finish or where you continue to go. Because I think back, quote I've heard throughout my life is never judge a man by where they stand because you don't know what it took for them to get there. So my goal when I lay my head on my pillow at night, being terrible for me is I did everything that I was supposed to do. I stayed true to myself and I didn't sugarcoat it for anybody. If you don't like it, oh well, maybe I might not be your cup of tea, but I'm somebody else's. And to be honest, I might be somebody else's tequila. Who knows? But hey, I might not be for everybody, but nonetheless, I'm organically myself and I'm unapologetically myself. And I don't run the risk of not saying anything anymore because of how it might make somebody feel. Because when I internalize it, I'm creating medical concerns and issues for me where that might impact my daughters, my wife, and it may take me out of here where my family might not be able to, enjoy my presence, because I didn't want to say, hey, Kings, I have an issue with you. And we being unapologetically ourselves and being uncomfortable and talking things out like men should versus going on social media. You know how society is nowadays. Like, let's talk about it, hash the beef out and move forward. Life's too short.
And life is too short, so you decide like, you know what, I need to put this collection, right? Because that's what you say. It's a collection. Is a
Yeah.
collection of life lessons, right? This is
Yeah.
because you even said it like, hey, look, hey, you have big Bible like in bold. There's a lot of good bold print in here too. So when y'all get the book, y'all understand what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
I call this the life lesson book, right? It's very clean, it's plain. So what was the first moment in your life that changed how you saw yourself?
The first moment in my life, how it changed how I saw myself is, I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. And it's not mentioned in the book. Um, I I give a shout out to Master Sergeant Vanessa Freeman retired, and I got arrested when I was, in Ramstein fighting things along those lines, and well, excuse me, apprehended, and
Yeah.
to the
By the
point where,
69? You that
yeah,
yeah, okay.
no, it wasn't a 560 knife, but it was
Yeah.
pullers up,
Okay, okay, okay.
and they had to, she came and picked me up. And essentially, long story less long, she had a conversation with me. She was like, promise me this won't happen again. If you promise me this won't happen again, you will never have to worry about this. Essentially, you getting in paperwork or anything along those lines. I was like, yes, ma'am, I promise. So while I enlisted in September 2006, my heart of heart, I don't believe I start serving until April 2009 because that's when that situation happened. And with that being said, is after that, it's like, let's go. I'm involved in this. I'm involved in that. I'm taking the job serious. Like nobody couldn't touch me with an AFI that had a 36 series. Like, yo, I was in it.
I know that's right, yeah.
Like I was boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
And to this day, like when I applied for retirement and I got my retirement approved, that was one of the first calls that I made and said, thank you, because without you, I probably wouldn't have made it. So,
yeah.
and to this day, she's in San Antonio. So shout out to Vanessa Freeman. And I want to publicly say thank you because you was a real one. They don't make them like that anymore.
Man, I appreciate that for giving people flowers when they hear, so they could hear, right? You know, because I shared my story
Yeah.
and journey, with you, and with that, what was one of the hardest chapters that you had to kind of just you probably wrote and you just probably stared because I like I said, I think when I'm reading the book, I'm like, man, what happened if I'm the author? I think right here I'll pause and really give it good thought. Right. So what was one of your hardest chapters that you had to put together,
I would
you
say
think?
the hardest, part for me was talking about career. Since that 2009, from that point on, hey, every evaluation was spot on. Like, not even from a cocky standpoint. I would put my record against anybody, no matter AFSC, bar none, until I got to Altus, Oklahoma. And when I got to Altus, Oklahoma, that was a situation where it's like I tried to fight for the troops, try to fight for the airmen, and me and my supervisor at the time didn't see eye to eye. But the grief or the headache that my supervisor was trying to pour in, I was their shield. I will fall on my sword for that. And my evaluation as a master sergeant was impacted. And at that point, I was like, you know what? This is, I was in the process of going through a divorce. I moved into a studio apartment. I put aluminum foil on the windows, like back like I was deployed, no sunlight, air mattress. I was down bad. I tried to come off you know, antidepressants, anxiety meds, cold turkey, because in the court case I was going through, you know, it was perceived as though I was abusing prescription drugs. So I was like, all right, cool. You ain't gonna do this. Like, so boom, had to take drug tests. Hey, urine clean. And I was, on the part where I was getting ready to, you know, take that eternal nap. And I got a phone call. And that phone call from this couple saved my freaking life. And to this day, I'm forever indebted to them. And I'm so thankful for that family. Um, and I can never, no matter what, they, I, I'm appreciative. And my mom, my family, everybody, like if we talking about upcoming retirement, my mom was like, what do they like? I want to give them a thank you gift card or something like that. And I'm like,
Right.
like that's just who they are. But, so it's just everybody from me. They might be coming to give me my flowers, but realistically, they in attendance, they might be like, yo, appreciate it because without them, this wouldn't even be possible. So I kind of still get a little emotional talking about it, but hey, that's just my story and I'm proud of it.
I appreciate you sharing. Okay, so no wonder you say, yo, we kind of run a parallel worlds. That's why I'm over here shaking my ass like, wow, I shared the, and I didn't even know you till, and we had this conversation, and
Yeah.
now we like,
Yeah.
yo, that's wild, my guy.
Yeah. So that's
And
the
I
truth,
just thought
man.
it was just me, KP. When I was going through myself, I'm like, man, this can't be happening to nobody else. But we talked about earlier, right? Everybody goes through their journey. Everybody goes through their traumas. Like, how do you respond?
Yeah.
One of my next questions, like, what was a moment you wish you could redo, but wouldn't? For me, I said, if somebody said, would you go back to the institution? I said, yes, I would do everything the same. And the reason why I tell people that is because if I wouldn't have done everything the same, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
here sharing my information. I don't know where I would be. I just know I wouldn't be here. I had to go through what I had to get through to be here. How about
Mm,
you?
So for me, me and my wife, we talk about it, or as I say, my old lady, we talk about it all the time. And, the thought process was, I wish I would have met you sooner. But we talking like, hey, if I would have met you sooner, I probably wouldn't be able to appreciate and, value the woman that you are, value the man that you are right now, because you had to go through all those life lessons in order to, grow. So for me, if I can go back to a moment and redo it, I would say I would probably go back to T.E.R.R.I.B.L.E. And the reason why I say that is this: I would have took studying. Matter of fact, no, I would took A1C pay going to tech school. I would probably took studying and prioritizing that aspect more than I really did, because I originally started out as communications. But when I went to tech school, I wasn't trying to study or go to school. I was trying to go
Right.
to the beach.
Yeah.
It's popping at the beach. So I ended
Yeah.
up, filling out a communication system control and, reclassing into personnel. But I think that, I'm right where I need to be. But I believe that if I had to go back to answer the question, I would probably go back to then, because I probably, in my opinion, I would probably be retiring a lot, being able to have a lot more experience from a rank standpoint, impacting a lot of more people from a rank standpoint than I have already right now. So I think that will be the time I would go back to if I had to pinpoint a time and throughout the career.
Okay. And that's dope. So how would you process difficult moments now versus back to A1C paid or a CM and pay? Like how
Hey,
is that?
like I think back to, I watch a lot of podcasts, and shout out to the Pivot. Ryan Clark says, he asks a question. I kind of embrace and put it in my toolbox, and he asks three questions. Are you okay? Are you good? And do you need anything from me? And I think how I process things now is, hey, how you doing? people that's in my circle, I'm not good or I'm not okay. What do I need? I need X, Y, and Z and be able to pinpoint what I actually need in this moment. Versus when I was A1C, I'm good. That hard exterior, like, that smile, the loudest one in the room or the most funniest one in the room, those are the
Yeah.
ones that's probably hurting and going through the most pain. And
Yeah.
those are the ones you
Yes.
probably need to check on a little bit more than you do.
Man. That's the as you remember, I tell you, used to be the base man. Like, look,
Yeah,
like team no sleep, team no sleep right here. And
yeah,
it's real hard to, when you have a when you're doing like being a high performer, right? Getting
yeah,
everything done and that emotional depth, like layers. Did you ever feel like you had to hide yourself, like certain parts? Cause remember I shared with you, like, hey, that
yeah,
face came on. I came through the gate, the face on. I'm ready to rock and roll. But when I got back to the house behind those doors, like you said,
yeah,
you had the full paper up, and there was just something
yeah. I,
different.
I I do believe that I had to hide myself. Like, for if I'm being honest, like, I've gone through divorce and I would go home or I probably wouldn't have those intimate conversations with, you know, intricate parts of my family members that I am able to have now because of certain situations during those times, and we just leave it like that. And but now I feel as though like I'm able to be unapologetically me. Like I don't, if as I tell my wife, don't ask me a question you don't want to know the answer.
Yeah,
And that's how I
yeah,
that's how I feel with friends and stuff like
yeah.
that. Like
Right, right.
I'm gonna tell her what it is. And I remember when I went home once my divorce was final, my grandmother, I knocked on the door and she ain't really know what was going on. But she looked at me and she was like, Keely, you look lighter. You look so much happier. And that's when I told her, that, hey, grandma, I went through a divorce and things like that. And I, you know, articulated what I was going through in that moment. And she shared with me some vulnerable moments, because that's what she's noticed from afar. Those old spirits, they pick up on things a lot
Oh
quicker than
yeah.
you are able to.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes, and that's where the identity, leadership, right?
yeah,
Because you said that you transitioned out, you're you're in a role right now in an organization. How do you think that impact your leadership, like being authentic, right? You know what I'm saying? Like being that
yeah,
person that somebody could come to and they know they speak of this, like you said, yo, don't ask me a question you don't want to, you don't want to know the answer to, because I'm gonna be authentic.
yeah.
How do you think that impacts leadership
It's
from a
a
leadership
blessing and a
standpoint?
curse. It's a
Okay.
blessing and a curse. The reason why I say that is this. Sometimes leadership want to know what the answer is, but they don't want to hear it from you. They want to maybe hear it from somebody that maybe look like them, maybe, in the part of that crew but they don't want to hear from somebody that don't look like them, if I'm being honest. But in the organization, I believe that it's challenging because I've been in the organization that have been in right now for over 4 years. And I've done, I believe, a damn good job in the time frame as I've been in the organization I'm in. I'm currently assigned to. But now as I'm transitioning out, my purpose, that fire that I once had when I first got in there, is it's not as, white hot as it once was when I got in there. So that's why honestly I'm looking forward to this next chapter because it I honestly, if I'm being organically me, I believe that I will go to an organization that would appreciate my talents, appreciate my worth, and make sure that I'm an asset to their team versus a liability or whatever they feel like, because I'm not that cookie cutter senior and CEO. It is what it is. Like I'm just not.
Right,
So,
right.
like I said earlier, if I ain't your cup of tea, go get a soda or Coke or something. Like, hey, do something
Yeah.
else. But
Right.
or just don't ask me. That's just
Right.
how I look at it. So
Man,
that's where I
that's
feel like,
dope, bro.
yeah,
Nah, that's so dope, man. Because I know when people come to certain people when they feel comfortable, right? Like, I feel
Yeah.
comfortable. And I'm sure that you probably shared during your leadership time and people reaching out to you for advice, like how to embrace their imperfections, right? Because sometimes, you have somebody that's trying to be so perfect to where it's actually hurting them. Like, hey, just embrace your imperfections. Like, okay, you can't do this well. What can you do well? Let's focus on the positive. Like you said, I'm going to turn this word terrible from something terrible to something good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
let's focus on that because people look at, when I first seen it, I'm like, terrible. I'm like, dang, it sounds like a negative word, but when you actually pick up the book and you go through each letter, we're gonna talk about the letters here,
Let's go.
coming down. But when you talk about it, like, man, yes, I am terrible, but if
And you
somebody don't
said we're
see it,
gonna, sit back, Tesla,
yeah,
like,
yeah, like,
hey, hey.
I'm saying, like, so I'm like, that's how it was when I was reading the book. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I am terrible. You know what I'm saying? So how do you what recommendation you as somebody, to embrace their imperfections?
I just think like if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So you might not be where you need to be in life, but hey, you're somewhere, so take that moment, take the lessons associated with that moment, and talk to that mentor or whatever to get you right and say, look, hey, KP, you tripping a little bit. You might need to, settle down. But and then go from there. So from a terrible aspect of it, like don't be so hard on yourself, but be organically you and be honest with yourself. Because don't take that burden on that pillow at night because you're impacting, your family that you're associated with. And I don't mean to jump ahead, but that's the second book, the pressure season that I talk about in that is like where your family get the leftovers. Like being you and organically you because people, hey, you're human. You deserve the right to be not okay. You deserve the right to be pissed off, but don't let it, dictate a week, a month or so. Like, yo, sit in it, own it, get the help that you need and keep pushing because, hey, you don't need
Man,
to
that's
stop for
dope.
nobody, no man, no woman.
That's dope, man. And that's all part about mental health and growth, right? Because we shared with that earlier. A lot of time, you know, eh, you don't want to have that stigma. Like for a long time, I was so quiet because I did not want to go with
Yeah.
that stigma, right? Like now I'm like, hey, give me the t-shirt. I got the hat. Like, hey, yeah, okay. But here, I done made it through. So how you think like self? Because it didn't for me. I had to do like self-awareness, right? And that for me played the role in my healing journey, right? Because it's not
Mhm.
it's an ongoing thing.
For
It's an
sure.
ongoing thing. So what you think about self-awareness? Like, do you think that plays a role in the healing journey? Like being self-aware, like, hey, I am this. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
for me, I am terrible. Like, that
Yeah.
self-awareness.
I think it plays a role in the healing journey because if you're not self-aware, what are you healing? You don't even know what you're healing. You're healing what somebody tells you need to heal. You don't
Oh
necessarily. So now
man,
you
that's
might be
good.
healing something that, oh, they told me I was an asshole respectfully, but am I really? Or now you think, yeah, I probably was. I probably shouldn't have said that. So I think when you turn the mirror back on yourself and you make a hard assessment on yourself, hey, it's okay if you're not where you need to be. Like I tell some people who come to me and they say, hey, what do I need to do? This might be, I don't know how real we can be right now, but I tell people,
All the
it's
way
like, yo,
real, like,
I tell
yeah.
people, I'm like, yo, get completely naked and look at yourself in the mirror. And what, like, you're emotionally naked. You like, what do you see and embrace everything you see and then move on. Take the notes that you need, write it out or whatever, and keep pushing because that's what it is. Because if you can't, if you
Dang,
don't like the person
yeah.
looking back at you, you the only person have the ability to change it. Nobody else. I can't look at my
Wow.
wife and say, "Babe, I don't really like the way my hair, my hair is thinning. Can you fix it?" No, she can't fix it. She might could give me a sew in or something like that, but
Right.
I ain't wearing. Like, who does that?
A man
So
unit.
you got to fix it. So
Yeah. And that's great, bro. 'Cause remember we talked about before I hit the report, I was like, I had to look myself in the mirror. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, Kings? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Get yo, snap out of it. Get right. Let's go. Like, what are
Hmm.
you doing? So how do you stay grounded today? Like what's some of your because I like I said, it's in the book. So don't worry. And like people, the conversation we having, just for the ones who just tuned in, we talked
Yeah.
about my man KP's book, right? Be terrible. And we're gonna get into the acronyms right soon,
Yeah.
but this is the buildup because people say, oh, you need to have 400 or 500 pages. Like, nah, these pages right here, they hit that pot. That's a power punch. These are
Yeah.
some Mike Tyson punches right here. Like when y'all get the book, y'all gotta understand what I'm talking about. But how do you stay grounded? How do you
How I
stay
stay
grounded today?
grounded now
Yeah.
is I use my circle, my tribe. I lean in on my tribe. I lean on my brothers, in which I mentioned in the book. I lean in on my family. I lean in on my wife. I lean in on my daughters. You know, those are the people in which I lean in on, and especially my wife. Like that's my that's my homie. That's my ace. That's like I can sit here and we can talk. She be like, "Bruh," sometimes,
That's
or
good. Yeah.
like it's just one of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
things where is we talk, we got the banter, we can sit down and watch. But one thing that keeps me grounded is, it's I can't really do it too much now, but I will watch old games. It's football season. That 4 hours, I turn phone off and I focus on the game. That's something that doesn't require thought. You just sit, watch. Only thought it might do is shut out the FanDuel or DraftKings or anything along those lines. Like I might do a little side bet. My wife like, oh, she got, but that right then once that time is over with, I'm back to, you know, normal. Or I might cook. The bigger the meal, the more stressed I am. So if it's just some rice, some field peas, and a protein, all right. But if
Good.
I'm sitting there, I'm doing the cornbread and the cast iron skillet and gravy, and I'm smoking a brisket or something,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Something
you
going on.
might need to
Yeah.
ask me if I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Something going on. Nah, that's dope, man. So who are you becoming today? You got we talk about the transition, right? So you coming up
yeah,
on your transition and you say, man, you looking forward to this next chapter. So who is KP becoming? Or are you
I'm
already there?
I'm becoming because I'm not at my peak yet. Um, because I think that I'm ever evolving. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to be 1% better the next day. But who am I evolving to is to being a man with the capacity to retire his wife and to make sure his kids is set up for generational wealth. And that to me is the biggest flex. So whatever that looks like post military, hey, let's get to it. So it might look like going into the government. That might be my calling. It might look like going out talking to people, young teenagers or things like that. It might look like opening a food truck. Who knows? Or would I tell you this? I'm not leaving any stone unturned. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, man. And this is where we're gonna get. We're gonna start. This is everybody get out your pen or paper if y'all got an iPad or however y'all take notes. Cause we're about to get into these letters right now that spell out. So you start off in chapter 2, the T,
Thankful.
thankful, gratitude when it wasn't given back,
Hmm.
gratitude without validation, given without receiving. You're not looking for an exchange of like, hey, I gotta get something. No, like, no, I'm doing this out of the kindness of I'm doing this out of the pureness.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that T.
Yeah. So I think for me, from a T standpoint, I
Mm,
I will take it from a few different directions, but I'm gonna try to
okay.
bring it home. For T in regards to the military, I always tell people I'm not going to pour more into your career than you're willing to pour into your career. So if you come to me and you ask me for my advice, my mentorship, I'm all in. But if I tell you I need your 1206, your evaluation by Monday, and then Tuesday come around and you say I ain't, all right, cool. I know I need to go. So, but there be times where I might have some people who reach out to me only when it's time for annual awards, or only when it's time for evaluation, but they don't care how
Yeah.
I've been for the rest of the 360 days of the year. But it's like, can you help me get this evaluation? So that aspect of like when it wasn't in return, because as we've been talking about, it's like nobody really asked you, you okay? Are you okay? You just, hey, just knock this evaluation out. From a family standpoint, is me being the one to always call, always text, always reach out. Who's reaching out to me? And sometimes, like, it might be a few weeks go by from certain family members, and I call them and it was like, what's wrong with you? Nothing wrong with me. What's wrong? Like, I just didn't call you in 2, 3 weeks and everything.
Right.
You asked what's wrong with me. Nah. Like, so just getting, taking those things for granted, so I just feel like when the gratitude wasn't given back to me, I kind of still showed up. But being deployed, excuse me, you hone in on some things like
Yeah.
I just did an outside of wire mission. I ain't got no mails, no nothing. And the only box I got for some people who don't even know me. In the time frame
Right.
that I've been deployed, not one box from the people that you would think that should be a box sent to you. But I didn't got 6 packages from a church in fill in the blank.
Right.
So it's just those are the things that, just kind of trying to find that gratitude in those moments when you low key feeling angry because you disappointed because you expected your loved ones to be reaching out to you in those lowest moments.
Yeah. One thing is, gratitude isn't about what you get, it's about who you choose to be.
Yeah, yeah, for
Man, that's
sure.
powerful, bro. And we're gonna move into the E, efficient. Woo! Time is the one thing you don't get back.
You're gonna get it back.
One thing you don't get back. When did you realize was your most valuable asset? You talk we talk about time.
I
The one
believe
thing,
that my most time that, not getting back is not being that physical presence in my daughter's life the way I want it to be. When just whenever I do get that moment with my daughters or whatever, I'm now inundated with work. I'm on my laptop or I'm taking texts from calls of friends or things like that. And I think that is, when I really, really took a step back and looked at it. And, you know, my daughters, I might not be there in their life physically every day, but everything I do was with them in mind. So that is, and I try to be efficient in all arenas in my life, but more importantly, my girls, my daughters, and my wife.
man. Hmm, hmm. Time doesn't wait for you to figure it out, huh?
They don't. Hey, time waits for no man.
Time waits for no man. And that's when we roll into the R, resilient. When
Yeah,
quitting felt justified. Remember we talked about that earlier before we hit
yeah,
the record button? Man, I
yeah, for
just want to
sure.
walk away, man. It's just easier just to walk away. Just forget it. Ah.
Yeah.
But in your lowest moments, how do you endure that resiliency? Like when you just want to walk away, when you just like, you know what? I'm good, man. I just be another 9 digits walking around on this earth.
Honestly, if I'm being a whole resilience wasn't a word until I heard in the military. Growing up, I never knew what the hell resiliency was or
Right, right,
resilience or
right.
anything like that. I just knew what was strong looked like. What a strong person looked like. Um, for me, when quitting felt justified, I just there was a few moments like being in a deployed location and going through the challenges associated with, you know, the things prior to my divorce, dealing with the outside the wire missions and things like that. It was like, yo, what's the purpose at this point? Like, I don't feel appreciated in no arena of my life. I don't got phone calls or the text messages or emails waiting for me. I don't have the hard body or the hard packages. I don't have, the appreciation from home units. I remember, I sent my evaluation back to my unit, and I was assigned to at that moment. they sent me an email asking me who was my supervisor, and they questioned everything I wrote in my evaluation. Like, he can't be doing this. Like, what? Like, I'm sitting out here going outside the wire, doing my thing, and
Yeah.
you questioning my integrity. That's one thing I don't play about is my integrity. And then, when it comes down to the family aspect of it, it's like, I can't sit here and call my mom and be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, and Z. That would kill her. So I harvest that. I can't do it with my grandma. So I harvest it. I can't do it with any of my family back home because them heck a lot spiritual than I am. So I don't want to cause them because they won't be able to get to me in time because where I'm at in the world. So I just felt like, you know what? It just might be time to just let it go. Just chuck the deuces
Exactly.
and we go from there and let the chips fall where they may. It was a good ride. But then, like I said, I got that phone call and, all the other times, I honestly feel like it was just intel, like what I'm going to do if I had to do it. But that moment before I got that phone call, like the
Right.
intel was done. I was ready, we was ready to get to it.
Right.
But that phone call, you know, I was at the lowest point where quitting definitely felt justified because I was in that 200 square foot studio apartment in complete darkness.
Right.
Um, and ready to do what it do what needs to be
Yeah.
done and what I felt like needed to be done. I said,
Yeah. So how do you define resilience now? With what you
how I was
experience? Yeah. How do you define
how
it
I
now?
define resilience now is paying attention to those signs. If you ain't okay, say that. Talk to your inner circle. Even though my wife is, my best friend, I could talk to her about anything, but she gonna hear it first. And then I might reach out to one of my partners and say, "Hey, bro, I need a second. Hey, let's just go sit on the deck real quick and just, you know, talk. Let me go for a walk. Let me watch a football game. Let me cook. Let me do all those things and then get those different opinions, telling them the same as until what got me to that point. And then once I get all the information, then I sit with it and say, all right, Keely, how do you move from this with the information you got? The information you got, people love you. People appreciate, they value you. So how do you combat? And boom, boom, boom. And then I sit there and say, hey, I appreciate you taking time to listen to me in those moments, but this is what I came up with. And then I let them know and they tell me if I'm off the mark or if I'm spot on. If I'm spot on, cool, we're moving forward. But if I'm, hey, my wife, she tell me, baby, I understand you, but this is a blind spot. You might not be seeing from this part. And I can appreciate that. I'll take the ego aside. I think that's the thing where a lot of people in our times, these egos are crazy. So if you check your ego at the door, let that pride aside, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, you be just fine. And that's when that R comes in, that other R,
Yeah.
that readiness, staying
Yeah.
ready when life doesn't give you warnings. Like we say, yo, if you stay ready, you don't have to
Yeah,
get
I gotta
ready.
get ready. Yeah.
Is that how it goes? Yeah. So what's the scoop on that?
So the scoop on that is like, once you take all the life lessons that you have that's been thrown at you, it's like, all right, what now? Like, and I use some like I've been an athlete all my life, until a few knee injuries and things like that. But I always think like I'm gonna watch game tape on previous experiences in my life and other people in my
Yes,
life.
yes,
Now
yes,
it might look the same, but I'm gonna be ready. Hey, they might be on cover too, but I got you. I promise you, I got you. You
yes.
know, so it's just one of those things where just being ready because you don't ever want to know. And my wife would tell you, I'm a protector. I'm gonna walk to the street side. I'm not sitting my back towards the door. Hey, let me get my wife and kids out of harm's way. So when it's all said and done, I need to make sure that they're good. And I will sacrifice myself and make sure they live on, they do whatever, and I get them out of harm's way because I have to be ready from the smallest thing. And it drives her insane. It drives her insane sometimes. Like, how like that? It ain't that serious. Yeah, it is. Like it is.
Yeah,
But it's one of those things where I will be crazy in her eyes if she's safe and sound at the end of the night and she can sleep sound.
man. KP, that's good because I didn't realize that saying "stay ready." Wait, how I go? Hey,
If you stay ready, you never got to get ready.
yeah, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. Before that, I wasn't ready because something caught me off guard. Right, I
Yeah.
was blind. It caught me off guard. So like, I had to respond a certain way. So that told me like, yo, okay, so next time if I stay ready, I don't gotta get ready. So that what gave me into that mindset. So has anything caught you off guard? Like, okay, yeah, that will not happen to me again. Trust and believe.
I would say the thing that caught me off guard the most, um, hmm, I would say professionally, having a supervisor that wasn't willing to have uncomfortable conversations, and just hashing things out and not letting evaluations be emotion driven. I think that would be the one thing that probably caught me off guard because up until then, hey, me and my supervisor, like, let's rock out, let's talk about
Right,
it or whatever.
right.
And, go from there. From a personal standpoint, what taught me to stay ready, never got to get ready, I would think that just looking at my grandmother and how she moved. Like my grandmother was a strong black woman. When I say strong, like she's like, if you look at strong black woman
Yeah.
in the dictionary, she's the
She there.
epitome
She
of
right
that.
there. Yeah, she right
Like
there.
she is there. Like, it's like no disrespect to anybody. But it like might be like Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, her. Like it's
Right.
just it's one of those things. Like she taught me like no matter what life gives you, you can make a way. I remember one of these times and like I used to tell her like I told her one time I wanted something sweet to drink. I wasn't trying to drink water from the spigot, from the down south stuff.
Right.
Like so she took cherry juice from a jar of cherries and poured it over some ice and put some water on it and was like, there you go. Like, but hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those things. So like I definitely appreciate it, that. And, I'm thankful that, she's able to see me at this point and I'm able to share this moment with her, my mom, and, a lot of people, my dad, and the people that meant a lot to me throughout the journey and, as well as my wife.
And that's dope because the way you when we roll, I rolled into chapter 6 inclusion, right? Like I shared, you shared with me. It's like
Yeah.
because I know what exclusion feels like to be excluded, to be shunned, to be, on the outside looking in, belonging, identity, creating space for others. What's the scoop on that?
So just creating a space for others is just trying to be included. It's like that's what we kind of been talking about. Like, just be yourself, man. Like, just continue to rock the way you need to rock, and ask for that feedback. Sometimes it might be warranted, sometimes it might not. But the most important critic in your life is yourself. That reflection back. So if you need to be like, it's gonna be sometimes where you be excluded because people might not like that organic version of yourself, but don't waver. Just continue to chart the course because it might be troubled waters, but as soon that sun gonna rise in the morning and trouble don't last always. So
Trouble don't
that's
last
just how I
always,
look at it. Like is
man.
I might be included in some people's circle and I might not. But guess what? I'm gonna sleep peacefully.
Yeah. And you know about sleeping peacefully, bro? Chapter 7. That was my favorite chapter.
Okay.
Chapter
That's a
7 was
first. Like
Bond.
a lot of the feedback I got is chapter 4 has been people
Nah,
favorite.
remember I shared that Bond, right? The
Yeah.
people who showed up. I told you, my man, shout out to my man, Kels. He
Yeah.
drove from Canada
To San
down to
Antonio.
Texas, to San
Yeah,
Antonio,
that's real.
Texas, to come check me.
Yeah, that's real.
Relationships matter. That's what you said. Who stayed? Who went? Who you thought was gonna be there?
Yeah,
You even said it when you was deployed. You get packages from people you don't even know, but expect the package of people who you know told you that they gotta send you packages. They
yeah,
send you.
yeah. Like,
Who showed
and
up when it mattered the most, bro? I want to ask you that. Like, I already showed. I shared with you who
like,
showed up, who
I
mattered.
I
Who showed
will
up for you?
say, like, I've never really been a big social media presence, and to be crazy as it might sound, this book has really been getting me out of my comfort zone because me trying to advocate for myself. And so I remember when I was going through my divorce, I posted something on Instagram, and my homeboy Kirsten, man was, thick as thieves, since we were knee high to a grasshopper. That's my guy, Ace Boom. And he's seen the post and he called me. He was like, "Hey, bro, you good?" I was like, "Man, going through divorce, blah, 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 blah." And he was like, "Man, you're rooming me for the weekend. No questions asked, none of that." He sent the bread my way and say, "Take care of yourself. Let me know if you need anything else." That's that's real to me. The Luckies, those are my peoples. Like my homeboy Jason, he showed up for me. Rick, I was in a domestic abusive relationship at one point. I called Rick after midnight. "Hey, bro, I need you. No questions asked, none of that. You at home?" "Yes, I'm on my way." Click. He showed up there. Like Sheen, like all of my guys, DJ, the list go on. Pete, like I just can't. Every one of those bros,
Yeah.
I would think, are epitome of strong black men and have shown up.
Mm.
And not only the way in my life, but one of the guys, and I'm not gonna, call him by name, but one of the things he said and stuck home to me is like, I can't be friends with somebody that's not good dads. Because if I can't trust you to be a dad to your own, I can't even
Right.
trust you to be a friend to me.
Right.
And when I look at my friend circle, every one of the guys that I rock with that has kids are
They in
the
there. They there.
epitome
Yeah.
of what a strong black father
Yeah.
should look like.
They active. Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
man.
For sure.
And that's what comes down to loyal, the L.
Yeah.
Love, loyalty, and choosing yourself.
Yeah. And it's okay to choose yourself sometimes. And I think that's what people have, that tug of war. Like if I don't say this, what impact it's gonna cause to me. Like, and sometimes you might be loyal to a situation, but that situation you might be loyal to might not be loyal to
You're
you.
lying to you, right?
Yeah, like,
Hey, say that one more time to the listeners in the back, man.
hey,
Say that one
you
more
might
time,
be
please
loyal
and
to a
thanks.
situation, but that situation that you're loyal to might
Mm,
not be loyal to you. And I think
mm.
you, you know, and my grandma say, "Hey, don't slow dance in a burning building."
Oh,
So
hey,
don't
those be some good. Hey, look, G might be
listen.
putting that word in, like yo, you
Hey,
like yo,
she
that's
be dropping
yeah,
some gems, but hey, don't sit around in a situation that you think might get better and you might enjoy it in the moment.
Mm.
Hey, sometimes it's burning around you. You might need to say to
Right,
yourself and, pop smoke, and no pun intended, and get
right,
out of it.
right. I was just about to ask you that, bro. Like, how do you balance? Like, how do you balance loving others and protecting yourself? Because that's sort of
Hmm,
that's kind of
that's a very good question.
yeah,
How do I balance loving others and protecting myself?
yeah,
I think it first starts with staying true to myself and knowing what I have to give from my emotional battery. If I don't have the bandwidth to pour out into that, it's okay. Sometimes I might have to do whatever is required to recharge, and trust the fact that the people that need that love from me know that, A, he had a rough day. He just lost a brother or sister in arms. He's just retiring and he can't find a job. The job's not coming in like he wants. And those are so just having those hard conversations and just being transparent with people and just letting people know, like from an expectation manager, hey, I know I said I was gonna meet you for X. Hey, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna be able to do that. Or, just saying from a standpoint of I appreciate you pouring into me all the time. You pouring into me right now, I just don't got it. And it might come a time where they might not have it and I might have the ability to pour into them. It's just, but And sometimes people get in their feelings. Let's be real. People
Yeah.
get in their feelings. Like,
Yeah.
I was there for you when
Yeah.
I get it. It's just timing, like timing is horrible sometimes because the man upstairs have a unique sense of humor.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's just one of those things where you just gotta battle with the situation that you call life and, not let it get the best of you sometimes. And I think that's how I balance that, like knowing that I'm a winner when it's all said and done. I might be losing right now. It might be, you know, 4th and 1, but I hate to
Hey.
say this, but shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles, even though I'm not an Eagles fan, but I might have to do a tush push,
Yeah.
from
Hey.
I can get
Well,
that
you right
extra one
there.
yard, but I'm still there. And, it's just one of those things. And the only reason I say that is to my father-in-law. Let me be clear. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but my father-in-law is a dead Eagles fan as well as my Uncle Sean. And I just spelled his name in the book. It's Sean. All right. So, and
Hey,
I
thanks
tried to
for the
make that right.
clarification. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the clear. But bro, look, one thing that you are leaving behind that's gonna be around. Like I tell people, I love to have the hard copy books because it can't be altered, right? This
Yeah.
is my copy. This is mine. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It can't be, change on no, no. This is mine, hard copy.
Yeah.
And we come to the E, right? Everyone, what I owe the world. What you owe the world. And you say, I'm gonna put this in a book. Purpose, responsibility, impact.
Hmm. I owe the world to pour into other men that look like me to be better than I have been and give them the blueprint to be better than I was at a particular age. Like, shout out my little brother. Like, he's far better than I was at 24 years old. So I owe it to him and that generation up and coming to, hey, take a second. Because I believe that the way I put things from a conversational piece or in a book is relatable. No matter who you are, I don't try to use these big words.
Right.
I'm a country boy through and
Yeah.
through, and I don't try to hide it. Like,
Right,
I
right,
really
right.
truly don't. Um, and I believe that that's what I owe the world, to pour into them, pour into my daughters, to have it where they are proud to call me dad, pops, you know, my father. They proud to, show up and want to come home because they know it's going to be a good time. I owe the world to be the best husband, son, son-in-law, brother, teammate, and friend that I can be. And I don't take those titles or those roles lightly.
Man, that's a perfect segue to come off with the mic drop right here. You don't owe perfection. You owe
Yeah,
purpose. You
yeah,
owe purpose.
yeah, yeah.
What's the scoop on that?
I owe purpose. And my homeboy Kirsten, he read Be Terrible, and he told me flat out. And this might be a segue. I'm like I said, he owed me me and him have a very, very organic conversation. He was like, Keely, you got something. You got the ability to touch, and you need to continue to keep forward. And he's a clown. He told me, it was like, man, you can be a Dr. Seuss of this thing. And I'm like, bro, you stop it. Like, chill out. And he was like, just continue on. And he was like, hey, maybe your next book should talk about the pressures of what it is to be a man and, things of that nature. And if I'm being honest with you, Kings, is like one day I couldn't sleep. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not letting this time go in vain. So at
Right.
2:14 in the morning, I started writing The Pressure Season. And
Ah,
The
that's what's
Pressure
up.
Season is out right now on Amazon. It came out on my grandmother's birthday. My grandmother Christine, my grandmother-in-law,
Yeah.
as well as my grandmother, they share the same birthday. So I try to honor them and drop it on the 9th of March. And essentially right at 2 months, I came out with another book called A Pressure Season to talk about all those things. And that's what I owe the world. And I hope that that is a segue to, you know, make
Yeah.
sure that everybody able to get the strength they need to keep pushing.
Hey, so you already know you got that invite to come back on the stoop to sit on the, so we get the
Let's
scoop of that
go.
round two. On that
Let's
round two,
go.
where we talk about this round one right here. So how can they
Yeah.
get a copy of and for the ones who just tune in, we talk about my man KP's book, Be Terrible, right? And hear this out. I challenge everybody just to close your eyes and listen. If you watching it, just close your eyes and listen. For the ones our listeners, terrible. My man KP said, and listen to the order: thankful, efficient, resilient, readiness, inclusive, bond, loyal, and everyone. Now we just talked about
Mhm.
each one of those letters. It meant so much to me, and I challenge you to go get his book because it's gonna mean something to you.
Yeah.
But how can they get a copy? How can they reach out? You know,
Hey,
how can
shout out.
they? Yeah,
So Instagram, Keely_Pate. The book is available on Amazon right now on hard copy as well as Kindle. Just type in "Be Terrible." Make sure you put the period between each letter because it is an acronym, not the word, and it'll ship right to your doorstep. So if you want to get the soft copy and read it because you've been intrigued by this interview, by all means, go for it. But if you want to get the hard copy and just wait, I promise you will not be disappointed. And I promise you that you will see yourself in some parts of the chapters that you read because it was real. It was very unapologetically me and it was very organic. And not very many people can do that in today's society because they in fear of what the views and things like that they might look on. Because guess what? My views is people in my household. So respectfully, I love it, but the ones in this household matters the most to me. So if anybody want to support, I appreciate that. It means the world to me. And even if you find it, you got just pay it for it. Buy it, send it to somebody that you might feel like need it. And hey, if you follow me on Instagram, I might do a raffle where you might get a free book depending on whatever the circumstances might be. So stay tuned.
stay tuned. Hey, y'all heard it first here, sitting on the stoop, getting the scoop with my man KP. We talked about his book, Be Terrible. Is an acronym, right? Y'all get it. Y'all heard me say it out, but don't be afraid. Remember, you don't have to drown in the sea of transition. And this book right here will help you with your transition. Whatever you
Yeah,
transitioning from. We talked about this
for
earlier
sure.
in the show.
Yeah,
Whatever
for
you
sure.
and this is if you're breathing, if breath is coming in your lungs, this book is for you.
Yeah, for sure. It is. If you wake up tomorrow or before you close your eyes at night, go get it. It'll be there in a few days. And if take an hour of your time. It's a quick read. It like,
Yeah.
King said, you ain't got to be in the pages all day or whatever like that. So
Get in
it's a
and get
quick
out.
read.
Get what you need.
And,
Yeah.
you know, hey, once you start, you're not gonna want to stop. Just look at it as like a can of Pringles.
Back. So you can't just have one. You can't just go through one page like, oh man, like, okay,
Yeah.
wow, the book's done. All right, man, let me go back again. But hey,
Yeah.
KP, man, I appreciate it, brother. Um, until next time, everybody, remember we love y'all. Reach out to
I appreciate
somebody,
it.
talk to yourself, look at yourself in your mirror and say, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's get right. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to us. We love you. We speak to you later. Take care. Peace.
Hey, I salute everybody. Take care. All right.